your host, Austin House. With me, as always, I have Adam.
Hello.
We have Edgar.
Hello.
And Daniel.
Hello.
So this is immediately following when you guys have arrived. You haven't had a chance to rest or anything.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't take any damage.
I used my power to heal, which I don't have back then, because I only get it back like once per day. You have 2 or 3? 2. Okay.
Remember you healed me for 2.
I healed you for 2, and then we realized you would have died if I had healed you.
Because I got shot again.
I was having a lot of fun shooting at you.
Thank you.
So I was thinking about, this whole bow thing. Did anybody, do y'all have one of them, Joe folks named Snitch or something? Well, like they all seem to have names that's like kind of like who they are and what they do, and I was wondering if it would just be that obvious.
General Hawk does take the 3 of you off to the side into a briefing room that's large enough that you can squeeze in. Unfortunately, it was designed for humans. They try their best to make accommodation for the very large alien. And he informs you that of everyone on the base, he believes that you 3 can most likely be trusted. Chiefly because you didn't know the plan until it was in action.
Okay.
By all accounts, you all performed admirably, and you did in fact save the relic. It would make no sense if you were the saboteurs to have done otherwise.
Okay, well, General, let's approach this logically. Who knew the route?
Frankly speaking, word travels around the base. It could have been anybody at the original base, and there's several here that could have been.
Don't y'all keep secrets?
Well, under normal circumstances, yes, but this is a big operation. The entire base was exposed. They had to have known something.
But wasn't there like, a fake convoy, what was supposed to be where the attention was on?
That was the intent, yes.
But that one wasn't bothered done, was it?
Not even touched. So whoever it was knew the entire plan.
Not a game.
Yeah.
Is there a way I can try to recall who all was in the staging area with this?
You do recall that Duke was there, Lady J was there, actually putting a name to her now. There were also a bunch of technicians that were doing the modifications to the vehicles that you called for.
That could have been it.
And that's not even including the people who actually made the plan, people who might have signed off on it, people who may have heard of it ancillary as part of their own part of moving the base.
This is going to sound like a stupid question, General. Does any of this go through the official government channel?
Technically, it goes through me, and I report directly to the higher-ups. However, I understand that I'm not above suspicion, and I intend to put myself in the brig until this investigation is over.
I was not in any way implying that the General was remote or suspicious. I was thinking maybe somebody in common.
Start bottom up and work our way up to that.
It does bring up, point is, no way in the world someone did this for free.
I imagine not.
Did we look at some financials?
Oh, everybody, knew?
You're also implying that they would have done so through official channels. Why would we have a record of someone's finances if they're trying to keep that hidden?
It was most likely the cash put off or paid into an offshore bank.
Well, why don't you try, leaking some other information in isolated groups and seeing what gets out?
That is a plan, but it would take quite a long time.
Yeah.
Currently, my plan is to have you search through the base, see if you spot anything suspicious, and report back. And he is going to pull up. Now, the map that I have there is not an accurate representation of the actual Luke Air Force Base by any stretch of the imagination, so government, please don't flag me.
The flag for the audio of this map.
Yeah, but still, I don't want them thinking that I actually researched their base, when clearly I didn't.
Snuck in. He's the mole.
Little did you know this was based on true events. No.
Luke Air Force Base, you have somebody sneaking in, scoping out your base so that you can make nerdy D&D games about it.
But please, let's not let our friend get disappeared.
Brief room, motor pool, guard station, mainframe, relic lab, armory, barracks, training ground, prison, control. Hey, maybe there's somebody bad in the prison.
Well,
I don't think I'm wrong.
I mean, maybe.
would I be able to fit in the mainframe?
You could squeeze your way through. Using the momentarily acting smaller rules in the book, basically you can squeeze down to a space about half your size in order to get through, which is how you were able to get into the briefing room.
I should be able to access the computers quite easily.
Can I review security footage?
Provided you can get into our computers and through our programming, I'm going to suggest that we have one of our own keep an eye out. This is highly sensitive material that you're going through.
Sure.
So, is that going to be in the control room?
Or the guards? Well, guards say it depends. Where's your security at? Sorry, whoever monitors your security.
They'll be in the guard room.
Okay, that'll be good.
But the person I'm going to assign to you will be the G.I. Joe named mainframe.
Oh, so
The mainframe room contains all of our servers, all of our computer network.
you should consider a different naming convention. That's confusing.
He just chuckles. He chose his name after we had the building.
Do you have a Joe named Barracks?
No, but we could. Are you interested in the job?
No, I don't think I'm qualified.
He says it with like a wry smile on his face and chuckling.
Yeah, that's going right over my head.
Okay. Relic Lab.
All right.
For,
so who all's going where?
Split the party.
So you're heading to the guard post
with mainframe.
With mainframe. You are going.
To the mainframe without mainframe.
You are going. All right.
With who? You can't go alone. You need clearance. I have clearance.
He
Don't
is
go
G.I.
alone.
Joe,
Take
remember?
He has clearance. He's hacked it. Maybe we need that fella.
I believe I'm going to start with the Power Ranger over here. The mainframe meets up with you. It's this fairly sterling guy, but with glasses and has a backpack with a bunch of gear on it. And you can't help but just get the vibe this guy is just computers savvy and knows way more than probably anyone in the room about networks and security and all that.
How much RAM you packing?
He just grins and nods a lot.
Alright, well...
I won't bore you with the details, but yeah.
Oh, no, please, bore me.
He starts talking about terabytes and...
I love being bored. I was hoping to look at the security footage to see, like, maybe who was there when we was departing, that might be peoples we want to keep an eye on.
He nods, and when they get to the guard tower, he takes a seat and pulls up the security footage on the multiple monitors.
You can have multiple?
Well, yeah, they're all networked to the same server.
I like it here.
I have a feeling we're going to get along just fine.
So, yeah, I'm going to start going through the security footage, looking for anybody who's, like, taking more interest in details, I suppose. And if there is anybody that's, seems like they're listening in or taking details where they necessarily don't have the business to be doing so, and following them.
Again, either an alertness or a technology roll.
Yeah. Oh, it's a crit if it's the maximum amount on the secondary dice, correct?
Yes.
So that is a critical 12.
Okay, was it alertness or technology that you rolled?
Technology.
What you notice is that some of the monitors look like nothing's going on them at first glance that shouldn't have nothing happening on them. You see somebody moving from one room to another, but they never enter the other room. And it dawns on you with your roll, is it possible if that could be on a loop?
Huh. I want to dig deeper and see if I can determine if it was in fact messed with. And if it was, like, what the entry point to that would be.
Alright, I'm going to come back to you for that roll, so keep that in mind. We're going to jump over to Postmark in the actual mainframe. They didn't send anyone with you because they figured you probably know more about technology than they do. And they did send their one big tech guy with Power Ranger. But you do notice that there are several scientists in this room that may be keeping an eye on you.
Right. I would like to scan the room with my energy scanner to see anything that comes out of the ordinary.
Alright, give me a technology roll for that one.
Nice.
That's a critical 19.
Nice. Okay, yeah, with your scanner, it's a lot of electromagnetic, I wouldn't say interference, but there's a lot in the air from just the amount of servers in the room all humming with electricity. You can't help but feel this place is primitive by your standards, humans haven't quite mastered quantum mechanics or mass shifting technology or any of the stuff that on Cybertron is taken as granted.
Mm-hmm.
This is all almost analog in your mind.
They still measure tech data in terabytes.
Yeah, to you, that's cute. There's nothing in here that seems out of place. You would have to review the data before anything would stand out, you would think.
All right. Would it be possible for me to plug into the mainframe?
I would think so. That you're adaptive enough to where you could probably find a way to access the computers.
Would it be hardline or would it be remote?
Which one do you want to try?
So we're going to try non-hardline first. Remote. Technology. That is
not good.
A5.
With just a quick scan of it, all you can really tell is this is just basic data storage. They're probably saving spreadsheets with stuff on them, or maybe saving the backup footage from a security room. Nothing interesting.
Would the mainframe have all the outgoing communications?
Possibly.
Okay.
But we're going to save it for when we come back to you.
Right.
Just keep that in mind.
Yes.
Over at the Relic Lab, you step in and they're unloading the mirror and getting it put into place and locking it down. There's all kinds of scientists around. You do notice, and I'm not going to have you roll for it because he does stand out, a head scientist that's ordering people around who stands a little bit taller, has his hair slicked back, and has a commanding presence about him. Like he's used to telling people what to do.
I'll walk over to him and be like, so, done this before?
He chuckles in a strange way, looks to you and says, "You could say that."
It's Kensei. Who might you be?
They call me Mr. Z around here, and he holds out his hand.
I take his hand and shake it. Mr. Z, not Dr. Z.
Unfortunately, I haven't quite established a doctorate, but they recognized my organizational skills and ability to command.
What is this short for?
He grins, nods to the mirror. Let's just say I'm only half here.
Interesting.
Would you like to take a culture roll to get a clue on what's going on with this guy?
Yeah. I rolled an 8. Oh!
He's weird. That's a weird guy.
Yeah. So it me.
What the hell does he mean, half here? Whatever.
So out of game.
Yeah.
Would I know who Zartan is?
Yeah, you know who Zartan is.
Okay. So my first thought is it's Zartan, but I'm just gonna hold that to myself and see what happens.
Inwardly, you can think that. That's perfectly fine. But he looks to you and, so, is everything in order?
It looks to be.
Good.
Do you have like a card or anything in case I ever need to talk to you?
He nods and reaches into his jacket, pulls out a card, hands it to you. The only image on the front side of the card is a stylized Z in like an embossed silver. And on the back is a phone number and ways to get a hold of him. But it's in that weird kind of print where you have to turn it in the light in order to see it.
Interesting.
My first thought is, do you have a card in case I need to reach you? How are you going to reach him on a card?
Well, if you don't mind, he points to an area off to the side.
Oh, yeah.
For your safety, you understand.
Oh, of course.
He smiles this big toothy grin and lets you go off to the side. And I'm going to jump back to the Power Ranger at the guardhouse.
Alright, what happened with them?
You don't remember where you were the last time? I told you to remember what you were doing.
Was I about to make another technology roll?
I believe so, yes.
That's 23 with a 20 on the die.
Wow. All right.
I want to know who's suspicious. I want to know their social security number. I want to know their mother's maiden name.
What you're able to find out with that incredible roll is not only that the camera's clearly been altered, but it's been done in the past 24 hours, clearly after the operation had begun and people had started being moved from Missile Site 8 to Luke Air Force Base. So you think that the most likely suspect is among those people that arrived just before you guys did. And that includes a group of scientists and a couple of just regular Joes. No one that you have any names for, strictly because a lot of their files are classified.
So, question, the modification happened in the last 24 hours, correct?
Yes.
So, Mr. Mainframe, who all, do you have a way of telling who has access to the security files and footage just for the last 24 hours?
He pulls up a list of basically numbers for you.
Sure.
And tells you that each of their badges have a number on them that they use to access different rooms. These are all the numbers that access to the mainframe in the past 24 hours.
And how long is that list?
It's about 15 numbers long.
Well, that's a good starting point. So, is there any... Well, no, all those people would have been...
Give me a quick alertness check as you're looking over this list.
I totally don't see the person behind me with a knife. Why do you ask? That was a 2, so that's a 2. It's a 15.
Nice. You do notice among these numbers there's one that's complete garbled nonsense.
It's not a number?
No, it's like symbols.
A list. Who's this one?
And he takes the list back and looks it over. Gets a concerned look on his face and tells you, this isn't one of ours. He starts immediately punching things into his... He's got a little wrist comm that he's looking at, trying to match the symbols up.
Sure.
He mentions that they're not symbols of Earth.
Well, I can see that. This like, that ain't even wingdings there.
But
That's my favorite font, by the way.
He gives you a sly high five on that one and just says, I don't know whose code this is.
Well, then, since we were looking at this one in particular here, can you pull up data about, like, when they accessed the security room? Because we can isolate when they were doing it, right? Just by eliminating the other 14 accesses.
He punches in a few more things into his wrist comm and says that it was done approximately, I'm going to say 12 hours ago, because it was before you guys started the op, but people have already been starting to move.
Mm-hmm. 12 hours ago, there was access by somebody who was covering tracks. Alright, that's a good starting point. I'm going to report, try and find my team. Mainframe. Show me to the mainframe.
He nods and leads you that way.
Alright.
At the mainframe, what was it you were about to try next?
Hardline, because remote didn't work.
And you suspect it might just be because the technology's just not up to par. Yeah.
So I only use the highest, right? The highest dice?
Yeah, the highest.
The lowest dice?
The highest number you rolled if you have a specialization in what you're doing.
No! That'll be an 18.
With the 18 on the roll, you're able to access all the files that you were thinking you could find. The payrolls, the communications, the security footage. You're also able to keep an eye on different ops and the blueprints for the different machines that they have here.
Yes, but I'm wanting to look in the past.
So, what are you looking for specifically?
I'm looking for any suspicious outgoing or incoming communiques from right before the convoy left. I'd say within 12 hours of the convoy's departure.
Even with the 18 on the roll, there's really no communications through this server that indicate any kind of outgoing or incoming. It's all pretty basic chatter. If they were in fact communicating from here, they must have been doing so on a separate system.
Alright. So I want to use my private frequency.
Your communicator goes off and you hear Postmark speaking to you.
Jack, have you found anything?
Oh, hey there, buddy. Yeah, I'm headed your way now.
Cool. Did you find anything?
Yeah, we were able to isolate exactly when they came in and started finagling with security footage.
Awesome. You got it down to a time?
Yep. Mainframe and I headed your way. We're going to share the information with you.
Awesome. That is wonderful to hear. Have you contacted Kenai?
Kensei?
That other guy.
No, we was going to meet up with you and then we could see what y'all was doing.
So over in the Relic Lab, since these guys are fixing to meet up, we're going to jump over to you real quick.
So I'm just kind of watching to see if anybody's acting suspicious.
Give me an alertness check.
14.
It's hard to tell who's acting strange when you're in a room full of scientists that are all eager to test out and observe a unnatural phenomenon such as this mirror. But you do notice that Mr. Z has taken a real keen interest in standing in front of it and looking into it. And you remember what you saw when you looked into it. So...
I want to... I know he told me to stay out this way, but I want to go back over and ask him what he sees.
He looks over to you, chuckles a little bit, looks back into the mirror, and he says, a darker time.
So, I get the impression that you're on the other side of that mirror.
Half of me has. I'm supposing that about now you're getting really tired of me being cryptic.
You can say that, but I mean, if you're going to say something, just say it.
He nods and chuckles a bit. You'll have to forgive me, it's a leftover of my time as Lord Zed. He explains that near the end of his campaign, the way they were able to beat him and his forces was a space wizard, essentially named Zordon, had one of the Rangers destroy his containment field, and the result was this backlash of positive energy that effectively separated the major players' negative energy from them. And that negative energy, when he gestures to the mirror, is what resides on the other side of this mirror. What remains, when he gestures to himself, stayed here.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Makes more sense.
Effectively, Zordon is dead.
Okay.
So he chuckles wryly. From a certain point of view, you could say Lord Zed won.
Yeah, you can say that. So, what prevents you from joining the lot with Cobra?
Aside from the fact that the negative energy was removed from me, and therefore I have no real use to Cobra, and have no real interest in the things I used to do, even if it is somewhat fascinating to see the other half of myself.
So, theoretically, if something was to happen in this mirror burst, what's on that side to this side, would your two selves form back together?
That's a terrifying possibility, yes. I hope it never happens. I'm much happier now.
So, what happened to all the other people that were on your side?
Most of them were sent to the Mirror Universe because there was literally no good in them. Goldar, Finster, Rito, my wife's brother.
What about your wife?
She was separated into two separate beings as well. She currently practices the mystic arts and is looking to train her own team of Power Rangers, but no one's been worthy yet.
So, I'm kind of new to things like Sanctronians and your historical battles that the world never really knew about, so...
It was best to keep quiet after the fact. People don't want to relive unfortunate events. We barely have tolerance for our own history. It's a lot. It's a big world, isn't it?
It's a lot to wrap my head.
Understandable. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I appreciate that. So, why would Cobra ruin their lot with Elites and Cybertronians to get this thing?
Well, it does represent a great deal of power, and imagine the resources of an entire other universe at your fingertips if they could make it work.
It looks as if it doesn't seem like there's any resources there to have.
Possible. We know very little about the dead universe, but there's also those that are imprisoned there make for very powerful allies. After all, they did almost conquer the planet several times.
That is cool.
Not to pat myself on the back or anything.
If I was in your position, I would.
You have a very generous spirit.
So, what do you find yourself doing these days?
I lend my assistance where I can. Right now, this military group is enlisting me for my experience with this kind of technology. Admittedly, it being Cybertronian nature, I know very little, but my experience with strange energies involving, for instance, the Dark Energon, it's very similar to the evil energy that I used to employ.
I heard that the Dark Energon is kind of like what we call antimatter.
It's very akin to the same thing, a little less explosive in that if it touches regular matter it won't, but it is the antithesis of regular energon. Very corruptive in nature. In fact, I've seen it do some pretty unsavory things to organic matter.
Not too long ago, there was some scientists were able to synthesize a small bit of antimatter.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, and they valued it at over $100 trillion an ounce in its
I can see where that would be a very valuable asset to have, but my interest in that would be mostly academic.
Well, I would imagine most people, but somebody who's power hungry, money thirsty, is Cobra Commander, I would think that, and considering that apparently now the universe has gotten a lot bigger for us Earthlings, I could see him trying to sell it to whoever would give him something to use in exchange for money.
That is logical. And if theory holds, he looks to the mirror again, there's probably a great deal of the stuff in there.
Dark energy?
And antimatter and all kinds of unsavory versions of the things that we hold as truth here, best we keep it out of his hands.
Yes.
So was there something I could help you with?
No, I was just curious on what you saw next.
Might I ask what you see?
I saw this, it looked like a skeleton with like a half military helmet, camo on one side, and skeleton on the other.
He just chuckles and says, that would be my half-wit brother-in-law.
And he looks like a half. Maybe because it's half, right?
I would not put it past him.
Or maybe half his skin.
But his whole body is skeletal. It's just half of it is done up in a camo style, and the other is just plain bone-colored. That said, let's go back to the mainframe, where you are just now entering with mainframe at the mainframe to talk about the mainframe.
It's the mainframe one more time.
Mainframe. Coincidentally, this is also a reboot crossover, so mainframe is in the mainframe, being studied by mainframe.
Hey, so
By the way, Renegade Games, there's your next idea, reboot.
I would love it. But let's see if Rainmaker Studios actually gives up the rights to that one.
So this portrait of the leader of the Joes, do you normally keep it in this location? Is this sort of a secondary frame or a main frame that you keep this portrait in? No, you will get to the main frame, and I will take the list of people who had accessed the security, and I'm going to show it to Postmark and say, these symbols mean anything to you?
Culture roll.
I actually have one now.
Yay!
I like that.
16.
All right.
This is Cybertronian.
Cool.
I thought so.
Regular?
Yeah.
Unleaded.
Premium. No, it's modern day Cybertron.
Okay, what does it say?
It's like an ID number, but you can only think of one other Cybertronian that's been around the Joe complex.
Okay. Does it mean anything to you?
The only thing that stands out is the fact that it is Cybertronian.
Okay. Coming in or going out?
It was trying to get into the mainframe.
Coming in. Okay. So, this is a attack on the firewall?
It's imitating a access code.
Okay. Has it breached the mainframe?
As far as you can tell, yes.
Okay. Can I trace it back?
What, to the source?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, if you want to give a technology roll, why
Sure.
not?
Lend assistance.
Okay.
You want to find out where is this going?
So you get edge.
Yep. 19.
You're able to trace back the origin of the signal, and it does go back to Swindle, who is on base right now. You did see him in the cameras arriving on base about 12, maybe 13 hours ago.
Who'd have thought?
All right.
Who could have seen this coming?
So, is Hawk in the room, or is it just
Right now, it's you, Jack, mainframe, and a handful of
guards?
Yeah. Not even guards. They're lab techs. People that are maintaining the mainframe. Mainframe.
Oddly enough, all wearing red shirts.
Not that that means anything.
Red shirts.
The traitors!
And that's because there's no blood in the Saturday morning cartoon, so there's no need for a red shirt.
Exactly.
As soon as you hand off the list, and he starts analyzing it, mainframe's already going to the computer and checking all the firewalls, making sure everything's locked down. He doesn't seem at all pleased that somebody used a fake code and then managed to get through several terabytes of encrypted protection.
Terabytes.
Again, to Postmark, ha.
I'm sure that you can go and reset your firewall with your chisel and hammer.
Jeez. With this information, what do you do?
But we need to notify General Hawk.
I think we just got a discount.
Is there a way that I can improve their firewall so this doesn't happen again?
Sure. Either a science or a technology roll. One or the other would work for me.
Lend assistance? Absolutely. I almost want to do it myself instead.
16.
You add several more layers of countermeasures onto there. You even add a trap to it, so that if anyone tries to access this with a fake code the way Swindle did, then they would not be happy afterward.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start with password protection.
16 characters.
That's right.
Mainframe, why is your password password? It's so simple, no one would suspect.
So he's improving the mainframe. I'm pointing things out along the way. But while he's doing that, I'm going to go,
He gets on his radio. Amazed that your communicator actually connects to his radio.
I took care of it on the back end. Don't worry about it. So, you got a security problem. You've been swindled.
You don't say. Let's go back to Kensei here. Are you still hanging out at the lab, or do you want to move around anywhere else?
I'll head over to the mainframe area, because I heard that's where...
These two are.
Well, that's where I heard Postmark was headed. I'll see what he's figured out.
On your way there, give me a quick alertness check. 19. As you're walking along, you hear something between the buildings as you're moving.
Oh.
I want to follow the sound.
Okay. Give me a survival check for tracking.
Split the party. Sounds great.
19.
Very nice. You come around the side of the building. You see a group of scientists that are making their way into one of the auxiliary areas, and able with that high roll to pinpoint one of them as the most likely source of that whistling. Yeah, he looks shifty. He's going to turn around, see you, and then run off into the crowd of scientists.
I'm going to try to follow.
Let's do another survival roll, I think. Unless you can justify something else.
No, 19.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
I thought that was a 20.
As you go chasing after him, he is going to duck into the control room area. You follow him into there. Even though you were hot on his tail, you find the lab coat left behind. And he seems to have just vanished into this group of technicians that are now working the control room panels. On that happy note, I'm going to jump back to the Power Ranger and the Cybertronian.
What were we doing? Going to talk to...
We just fixed up the mainframe. Additional layers of security. We need to track down General Hawk.
Well, he spoke with Hawk on the radio and told him...
What did Hawk say?
We kind of just panned away from the conversation, but I basically said I think that it's a swindle.
To fill in that space of time where he would have told you to go investigate swindle over at the motor pool where he was seen last.
The motor pool! Let's head to the motor pool. Hey, just out of curiosity, doesn't, if I'm understanding the map, doesn't that take us right by the control room? Sorry, it's right next to the control room.
Well, yeah, you currently are in the room next to the control room and across the way from the motor pool. So if you wanted to take a quick trip over there, you absolutely could. I'll actually give you an alertness check to see if you see Kensei making a run for it. Postmark, would you like to make a quick alertness check just in case you see something?
10.
10? Yeah, you see your buddy Kensei go running past. You don't have any context for why, but you seem hot to get it.
Running to something or from something?
You have no context, you don't know.
Kensei, what's up?
And he's gone.
What's going on?
We should follow him.
Okay, everything alright?
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I'll go run in. It's probably easier for me to navigate the halls of this place.
Well, are we inside or are we outside?
Right now, between buildings, you're outside.
Okay, well...
But you'll be getting inside pretty quick.
Okay,
You can go in the buildings, you just gotta squeeze through the doors. So.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try and keep up with him.
Alright. Kensei, you get into the building, you see the lab coat on the floor, you see the group of technicians all working the panels. Then Jack just runs right in, no problem, but Postmark has to get down, squeeze in, go sideways, fold his doors down, complain about the state of human architecture a little bit before he's inside the building. And even then, he has to bend down a little bit.
Kensei, what's going on?
So, I think there's one of the more elite members of Cobra.
Elite?
That thing has
Okay. Escape room. Who doesn't belong? Who looks like they're faking it?
Sure, give me an awareness test.
21.
Yeah, you're looking around, and a lot of them look like they're genuinely working the switchboards and making sure that there's communication and monitoring. But there's one on the far end that looks like he's been flipping the same switch a few different times and glancing your way every once in a while.
You're on stun.
Oh, Okay, roll your attack.
Yeah, I didn't aim. I didn't say I aimed. I wasn't taking the time to aim, so. That's a critical 15.
Unfortunately, his evade is higher than 15.
Alright.
So the minute that goes flying past him, he ducks down, grabs one of these swivel chairs, and throws it through a window and starts to make a break for it. I'll give each of you one chance to do something here before we roll initiative on anything.
I'm going to try and run as fast as I can and grab it.
I'm sure your movement's enough to catch up to him in this one moment, so for grappling, I believe it's an athletics roll against his. Woo! Wow, you grab him. You roll crap.
I do not have any non-lethal ways to do it. I need to look into that.
It's like, oddly enough, humans are squishy. Did you want to do anything in this moment?
I'm going to kneel down and jump up abnormally high, do several flips in the air to where you're grappling him, pull back my staff, and attempt to stun him right melee range. Just over the top Power Ranger style combat with a whole bunch of flipping for no reason.
Yeah, I'm not even going to require the athletics acrobatics roll for it because you're within your regular movement. So I'm just going to call it flavor.
Sure.
So go ahead and roll an attack against him.
Nope, same roll as last time.
Well, the good news is he's taking some penalties due to the fact that he's being held.
Sure. So
this time you put the javelin right against him, it shocks him, and that stuns him for 2 rounds, you said?
Yep.
All right.
Have I got any handcuffs?
Does anyone have any handcuffs? Would you like to have handcuffs?
I would love to have some handcuffs.
You happen to have handcuffs in your equipment.
Nice. So I want a handcuff. My Rio Hawk and Tom would have a prisoner.
We have a prisoner.
All right, bring him over to the prison. I'll meet you there.
Where were you
In the mainframe. Oh, you're in the control room. I'm sorry. Yes.
So we just walked between two buildings to the prison.
Yep. When you get to the prison, there's a bunch of cells that have plexiglass fronts to them. Think more Silence of the Lambs, less Arkham Asylum. In one of them is this strange pig monster that as you're walking by, hey, look at that, there's people coming in. Hey, you think maybe you could open up this gate here and let me go?
Alright, so let's throw
Operative
and
Blue Scout.
When you go to throw him in, a couple of the guards come over, they pat him down. He says, you can probably stand to pitch your hands someplace else.
I'll stick my hands up here.
Hardly becoming of a joke, don't you think?
Cavity search is standard procedure for all.
Well, have fun with that. I want my lawyer.
You don't get a lawyer.
Oh, it's the contrary. I have 2 very good ones.
You're a terrorist. You don't get a lawyer.
Well, we'll see what they have to say about that, won't we? One of the guards pulls a disc from his jacket. Oh, what's this supposed to be? Private. They shove him into the cell, and it closes. The plexiglass door shuts down. They hand the disc off to Kensei. Guessing you want to get a look at this?
Absolutely. Keep the triple guard posted.
When they look over, one of the guards is standing inside the cell. Let me out! You guys got the wrong guy! Well, they look at each other like,
No.
That one's sharper than he looks. And the facade drops, and Sarkhan is standing there, grinning widely.
And here I thought you were hiding as somebody else. You know, maybe if you didn't whistle.
I'll remember that for next time. Thanks.
It's compulsive. You'll never possibly.
Turns into you. It's compulsive. You'll never remember not to do it.
That's it.
Oh. What are you for? Look at that. You turned into somebody who has self-respect.
Turns into the Blue Ranger, and unlike someone else I know.
No, I was insulting you because this.
He's a mercenary. He has more gunpowder than brains. But that doesn't mean he's not dangerous.
Yeah. So y'all saw that all this stuff was just happening. So it doesn't matter who was in there. The same guy.
Turns into General Hawk. No, this guy's lying. You let me out now. You're not going to fall for that twice. Dang.
Excuse us. I'm sorry. We need a little bit of. Excuse us. Oh, sorry. You're in a cell. Walk away. So walk away. Little update. Swindle's been messing with security footage.
Are you sure it's not good?
Yeah. How positive are we that it's Swindle?
We got to move film.
Technically, you don't have any film of him actually doing anything. You just have...
Server training and key access.
But you were able to trace it directly to Swindle, correct?
Right.
It is definitely Swindle's access, but you didn't ask what he was doing with that access, and you don't have any footage of him actually doing anything.
If I had to bet, Zartan somehow got Swindle's code and used the access. I mean, it's Swindle. I mean, with the limited interaction we had with him, he's not necessarily going to be the most straight-laced person, but I'm pretty certain he's not playing both sides of things. I mean, I could be mistaken, but somebody who's going to get good money out of the U.S. government for whatever equipment he just happens to have lying around is not going to play both sides. While Cobra probably pays pretty good, when it comes to technology and weapons, the U.S. government is a lot better. Keep in mind, the U.S. government once spent almost $1 trillion on a single fighter jet that was basically an overinflated paperweight.
That's a whole lot of information right there that's, I'm trying to keep up with. So. I still think he's suspicious.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
Without a doubt.
I don't know about like flying paperweights and stuff.
I don't know. You might have a flying paperweight somewhere around.
We don't talk about that.
Nick Postmark don't have a flying paperweight.
No witty retort to that, Postmark.
Just trying to think about what to do.
We could, I could sell this foot full of Energon to Swindle. See what he give me for it.
You might want to do that before it completely leaks out.
I'm gonna go talk to Swindle.
You make your way over to the boulder pool, and he looks to you and says, Hey, it's the Blue Pimpernel. Good to see you again.
Anyway, so check out this thing, and I pull out what to him is a foot that I cut off from somebody that is filled with Energon.
Was it Runabout? Which one did we get?
No, it was Run Amok, because that was the one that crashed and his parts were everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was fairly simple to pick up his foot, and that is gruesome. That is... You're twisted, but I'm interested.
Check this out. There's a, what did you say, 5 Energon in there? 4? There's a couple cubes worth in here. You're bleeding off on me now.
I know it's infectious.
It is infectious. So, yeah, what do you give me for this?
I give you an accent, that's what I give you.
Yeah, you gave it to me, alright. Now I'm stuck on it. Shucks, man. Alright, so,
Well, what are you interested in there, little person?
Well, I suppose I should look through, your wares here for a little bit and see.
He gestures to his wagon O stuff. As he's doing it, he's holding the boot and just...
Taste testing the Energon.
That's quality. A little used, but we can make that work.
I'm going to ask Postmark where they last left mainframe. I want to see what's on this disc.
So mainframe is at the mainframe.
Alright. Hey, mainframe! Got a minute?
Well, I was double-checking this work that your friend Postmark put in, and have you seen code like this? It's beautiful.
I'm not very good with computers, unfortunately. But we found Zartan. It's currently in the brig. Well, stocking it, I guess, technically. You have this on it.
Takes it from you, looks it over. Really not good with computers, are you?
I figure if I'm going to understand what's on there, I'd better ask the person that understands computers stuff.
That is a fair assessment. He takes it and loads it into his wrist comm, punches in some codes, because it's clearly password protected, encrypted. But for him, it's nothing. He just right through it. And when it pulls up, that's interesting.
Is it?
They're coordinates. And it looks like it's someplace out in the Pacific Ocean. You might want to check with General Hawk. It feels familiar.
Alright. Care to come with me?
Absolutely. I think we're pretty much done here. You need to tell your friend, the Cybertronian, he does good work.
I'll pass that along.
So he goes with you over to the briefing room where Hawk has stayed the entire time, so that all suspicion is removed from him. mean, he didn't take any offense to the thing earlier. In fact, it was his suggestion that he stay here for that specific purpose.
I was not trying to imply that he was involved.
And he knows, and that's why he hasn't brought it up. But he has still followed up on his promise to remove himself from suspicion by not getting involved. Mainframe goes over, shows him the coordinates on his comm. Hawk nods thoughtfully and goes, I could have sworn that was decommissioned. It was one of Cobra's bases, near the beginning of our campaign against him. This is an underwater base that they used to operate from when they were trying to use giant robots. It's possible if they could have fired it back up and are using it as a hidden base.
Well, I mean, considering we tried to steal that nerve, Cybertronians running around, Power Rangers with giant robots, yeah, makes sense.
You bring up a good point. Power Rangers having their robots, they could be developing countermeasures there.
Something else. So Mainframe and Postmark were able to determine that Swindle used his access code around the same time as some security footage was on.
Have you confronted him?
Not yet. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. So we found Zartan skulking around the base. He's currently in the stock.
Well, that's why we're going to have to keep him, because if he gets word out to his lawyers, then we may be in some trouble.
I'll tell you like I told him. Why does the terrorist either one?
As much as we like to think that we're above the law, son, we just aren't. And sometimes they are sneakier than we know.
Well, I say we put him somewhere where he can't be found.
He just taps his nose and winks. Not that I would condone such a thing.
In any case, it's probably Zartan who's on hold.
I would think so. With him being on this base at all, it's suspicious. You did good, son. Keep going like this, and you could be looking at leadership material. But for now, let's start planning an op. I think it's time we took the fight to Cobra. Meanwhile, over at the motor pool. You see anything you like there, little blow?
What's, yes, actually. I'm looking at this gigantic thunder cannon that you found from one of my fellow rangers.
I would say acquired. I mean, found is just making it sound like I'm a scavenger, and I'm a legitimate businessman.
Yeah, right, of course. So I see that you also, can make this thing automated.
Sure can.
Let's do that.
Swindle, he looks at you and says, that's a high-ticket item, but if you're willing to part with all this here fine energon, I might be willing to call that one a fair trade.
I think you have a deal.
Yeah, he holds down like one finger for you to shake, which for you is literally like your whole hand.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Deal's a deal, little man. Enjoy your artillery, and I'm
Very
gonna...
much, and I'm going to put it in the grid.
That's a nifty trick. You're gonna have to teach me that one day.
Yeah, probably not, but sure, why not?
Hey, I can make you a good deal. You never know.
We'll see if you got anything worth wheeling and dealing with.
We'll see. So when he finishes up his deal with the boot of Energon, he looks to you. How about you, Autobot? Interested in any kabooms?
No, not really at the moment. I can't think of anything that I needed.
Well, I mean, maybe you don't have anything here that you need, but maybe we can talk about a little bit of things maybe I need. He puts an arm around you and taps your shoulder with his fist a little bit, like, I know you go on a lot of ops there, scavenger, and you got a certain set of skills, right?
Yes.
How would you like to help your buddy Swindle out, huh?
What do you need?
Well, I'm always on the lookout for interesting things. Maybe if your buddy here can find Energon, I'm thinking maybe you can do better, huh?
I can scan for that, of course.
Yeah, see, now we're talking. Maybe next time you go on an op, you find something you can't use, you bring it to Uncle Swindle, huh?
I would need something to transport it in.
You're thinking Energon cubes, am I right?
Do you have some cubes?
I keep good stock.
Came into a couple cubes.
Well, he came into the liquids to fill the cubes with, but he's got plenty on hand.
Only slightly used.
What, 6 would be good?
6 is a big number. Maybe I can give you 3.
Okay.
All right, then. He leads you over to the trailer that he keeps just full of stuff. He opens up a panel on the back and pulls out these, for you, about the size of your chest, sized energy cubes that look like they're made of light.
They're that big?
Yes.
I don't remember them being that big.
That's what she said. Hey, human culture, am I right?
Where am I going to keep these things?
Oh, don't worry, watch this. Takes like the corners and just shrinks it down so they're like in your hand.
Oh.
They're made of energy, my man.
Okay. So they'll contain however much energon I put in.
Up to about the maximum size, which was what you just had in your hands there.
All right. That'll be fun.
See, I knew that we could work something out. So you not bad for an Autobot.
So, what's the exchange rate of these cubes?
We'll work out details later. If you've managed to fill these, we'll talk about a deal.
All right.
You just take these and you put them in your pocket here, and you just remember your old pal who took care of you.
All right. Okay, so now I'm on a scavenger hunt.
Kensei,
Yes.
after having spoke with General Hawk, is there anything that you wanted to do?
I'm gonna go talk to Swindle.
All right.
Ask him about his code being used.
So the two of you see your friend Kensei come walking up to the motor pool. Swindle spots you and says, "Hey, it's the other one of my favorite two humans."
So, I've got a weird question for you.
Well, a weird answer might cost you. It just depends on how weird it is.
So, it was discovered that in the last 24 hours, your access code was used to get into the G.I. Joe mainframe, your Air Force Base. Thoughts on why that was? Or
What? That's crazy talk. That's crazy. You're talking crazy. Give me a streetwise roll.
oh,
Obviously, your good friend Swindle is telling the truth.
obviously.
I mean, why would he ever lie to you?
Is it possible somebody somehow learned your code or got hold of your code somehow?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, weird things have happened. Am I right? Am I right, Autobot?
I will say this though, you're not fully clear in my opinion.
I mean, that's rude, but all right.
I mean, your name is Swindle.
Unfortunate. It just sort of happened. I mean, I don't get to pick.
And we're part of the Decepticon convention.
Hey, doesn't it say something I ain't working for old Buckethead now?
I mean, maybe.
See, we're all friends here. We're friends. Interest you in a boomy stick there, human?
My sword's in this one.
Yeah, playing with your sharpened sticks. Got it. After speaking with Swindle and making a deal, making a side mission, making a small talk, a woman walks over to you with flowing blonde hair. She's clearly built like a model, but has got grease on her face and wearing fatigues, chewing bubblegum. She looks to you and says, "Kensei, right?
Yeah,
Hawk just sent me over to let you know that there's a barrack for you."
thank you.
Well, yeah, the base that you came from is basically decommissioned now. And she looks to the Blue Power Ranger and says, "General Hawk would like to extend an invitation for you to stay here as well. After all, we met you in Green Valley, and that's quite a ways away."
Yeah, it's a bit of a hike, dude.
And she blows her bubble gum into a bubble, pops it, and gestures for the two of you to follow her.
It's not really that sanitary, you know. Like, I ain't judging you or nothing. I'm just saying, like, you know, the stuff on your face, you know, pull it back in, like, this does.
I ain't concerned with beauty.
Alright, I'm sorry, ma'am.
And she leads you to the barracks. She ignores the giant robot who's talking with the other giant robot. She seems like she's got this attitude of seen it.
So do I see them going off?
I don't know if they got a bunk big enough for you, Mr. Postmark.
Yes, I'll start following them.
Yeah, she leads them to the barracks and leads them inside and looks to you, looks to the door, shrugs, and goes inside.
Can I fit?
You can squeeze your way through. There hasn't been a door in here that you couldn't force your way through one way or the other.
I don't want to damage it, but okay.
Or infiltration if it's higher.
5.
You get through the door, but you rip off the actual swinging section of the door as you do.
Sorry.
She just pops her gum, rolls her eyes, leads you to a couple of bunks near the back. These 2 are yours. As for your friend over there, and she nods in your general direction, the bull in the china shop, he's probably going to have to stay at the motor pool.
Look at that. You can share a garage with the other ones. This one. Quick, you better call Top Bunk before he does.
I guess I'll turn
Top
back.
And that said, that is actually where this particular episode is going to end. Yes, thank you all very much for tuning into this episode of Crossover. We will see you next week for episode 4. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.